I don't fucking agree with that shit. And I think it's just crazy to agree with that. It says a lot about a person. Oh, you're Jewish, you're maybe white, I got a connection to you, so I can understand. If there were all Arabs over there killing each other, Americans wouldn't have no fucking interest in there. You're talking about monetary stuff. I'm talking about human life. There's a difference between monetary gain. I don't give a fuck about what this oil goes up. I care about human life. And I really care about another fucking country going in, stealing we're gonna go in Lebanon. Where's the greed gonna stop? We want the whole Middle East, and that's what happens when you put an implant into some. White South Africans are not naturally from there. That's where the chaos came. When it comes to Israel, Europeans are not naturally. How can you have a region full of Arabs and there's only one group that's not Arab? It doesn't make sense.
Well, they're placed there when they got the land in 47, 48, whatever.
Yeah.
Let me get this shit started.
Yeah, but then you try to say.
Let me get this shit started.
This is Sparta!
All right.
Welcome back to Spartan Leadership. I'm your host, Josh Kosnick, and this is your podcast for inspiration, impact, and leadership. And you've already missed out on some great rants by E. He's already started.
Yeah, we don't have to bet whether he's going to rant today.
No, and he's not even going to pretend that he's not going to rant today. But I'm with, this is our once in a month leadership and review. I got Emmanuel Whitfield, greatest man alive.
AKA Angry Brother today. Feeling like Tiger Woods today.
And Jason
You
Smith.
can call me the pragmatic brother.
The pragmatic brother.
Yeah, I'll explain why.
And I'll be the fasting brother with low energy, with having no food for the last 40 hours.
I don't get it.
But we're going. No, I mean I felt called to do it going into the Holy Weekend. So for me, it's not about diet. It's about growing closer to God. So I told the boys they're going to have to carry more of the load this episode, and E didn't even wait till the cameras were rolling and start ranting. But
I don't want to just rant today. I want to make some sense.
You better eat something soon. You're going to meet him.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I got an IV this morning. Okay. Keep the vitamins in. I'll be good. But Jason brought us these amazing Monte Cristo number 2s to smoke on during this conversation. So regardless of how much E yells at everybody, we're going to enjoy these smokes.
I'm going to try to keep it in, man. I'm going to try not to yell today.
All right. So, we got a lot to catch up on.
I did not get these from the Code Pink group either. So
what's the Code Pink group?
The group of liberals that went down to Cuba. And when there was a nationwide blackout, hospitals were down, people died on ventilators. But at the hotel where this liberal group was staying, all the electricity was on and everything was fine.
Oh, interesting.
And they walked around with their cameras filming, starving people on the streets like it was a, petting zoo. It was disgusting.
Interesting. But, just like, Gavin Newsom doing his thing while people are getting arrested on the beaches.
COVID, you can't wear a mask. Right. You got to wear a mask, and I'm just going to go
laundry.
You know what I was wondering about the other day? I was at the airport going to the Bahamas and then back from spring break. But I was just wondering, because there are still some people that are wearing masks. And I'm like, I wonder sometimes, like, if the mask wearers get pissed at us fresh air breathers, like what always gets me is like the people outside wearing a mask. I get it if you're fearful or if you're sick.
I know what it is. They really don't trust the science.
They really don't trust the science, or they're that big of virtue signalers that they got to be seen with the mask on outside. I get it. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We got a lot to talk about. We only do these once a month, and the news cycle changes daily, if not by the minute. So we're going to hit on some big topics. We want to talk about the conflict in Iran. We got Nick Shirley doing more amazing work in California and the fraud going on in each of our states. And probably a couple other things as well. So hang tight. We're going to start with the Iran conflict. I'm going to start this out because we've already had quite a bit of conversation. I'm going to start this out with this. I think this is a leadership podcast, and the biggest thing that I'm upset with, there's a lot to be upset with. There's a lot to debate back and forth as to why. But here's why I'm talking about leadership on this. Is like, regardless if we think we're there for good intentions, bad intentions, regardless if we think it's the most strategic move against our enemies, or if we think it's horrible, whatever our thing is, the the administration has not actually given us a very clear communication as to why we are there. And the goalpost seems to keep moving. 2 leadership principles that I believe in deeply is you have to communicate the exact reasons, the priorities, the mission at hand, and very clear outcomes that we're looking for. And secondly, in leadership is you cannot continue to move the goalpost on your team. So from a leadership standpoint, regardless, I know we're going to get into debate about, why and what and all that stuff. But it goes back to my point that we've made numerous times is like politicians as a whole do not do a good job of communicating the truth and clearly communicating that. And therefore leaving a lot of conspiracy and opinions and debates to happen amongst us, which is probably purposeful to some extent.
That's exactly what they want you to do.
But that's my biggest thing with it right now is like, I don't know. I have a lot of conjecture. I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of guesses, but I don't know the truth as to why we're there.
Sure. Well, I could tell you that my understanding of it, whether I'm, correct or not, initially was the first one obviously was to prevent the development of a nuclear weapon. And the thing that I do believe that there was truth surrounding that initial objective. That's been an ongoing problem for a decade or longer. I did read that, and I know that Secretary Rubio talked about when the negotiations broke down, that one of the things that was offered prior to the beginning of this conflict was we would provide free of charge uranium, a supply of uranium that was enriched to energy production level, but not so far enriched to weapons grade. Iran said, no, thank you. And when that happened, what Secretary Rubio said that it was clear from that response that there was really no intention or good faith to stop that weapon production goal of theirs. If that's true, then it would make sense to start some type of, walk softly, carry a big stick. Probably time to use the stick at that point. To your second point, or your point in this, I think the second objective would be if we are going to eliminate a terrorist regime and allow Iran to govern itself, then I think that you'd also have to provide enough infrastructure, security, or integrity to allow Iran to make money, to feed its citizens, to move oil, to move money, and to move food. And what I'm going more by what Secretary Rubio, I've seen interviews of him, not the administration, because to your point and to E's point, I don't think that the White House does a very good job of communicating what, it looks more like mission creep when you don't articulate what you're doing. But Secretary Rubio said, if we have any faith, or words to this effect, that if we have any faith in the Iranian people, being able to govern themselves, you have to leave the country with an intact infrastructure in order for them to do that. If that's the case, okay, that would make some sense to me. But that's not what I'm hearing from the White House. Yeah. And that's to your both points.
And to that point, before we let E rant on this, the whole thing with like communication and what I've stated, I think in many of our podcasts is like, if they just told us the truth, conspiracy theorists wouldn't necessarily exist. Right? Like, just tell us the truth. We're adults, we can handle it as much as they think that we can't. So whatever the truth is, just tell us that, and then let it play out. Like one of the things, or even saying, "Hey, we screwed up here. We were wrong." No politician that I've ever heard has ever said those words. And as a leader, I've had to say those words many times. I'm sure you have as well. Yeah. Like whether it's correcting your child, correcting an employee, we do it wrong, or we come down too harsh. And we're like, let me circle back.
Conversation last week about a position that we had created in one of our businesses. We tried it. It didn't work out. We changed it. We say, hey, it didn't work, but here's what we learned. And then,
and then you correct it.
Yeah, and people respect that.
So, for example, I know you guys probably know, but most of our audience probably doesn't. The reason the Shah is in place is because we put him in place. Yeah, that wasn't Trump. Yeah. But it was a coup. And I don't remember which president it was under, but I think it was the 70s or 80s.
No, the Shah
That
was
would have
put
been
in.
under Ford, I think, right?
So
Right before Carter, is
right.
that
So
correct?
we made a strategic mistake way back when, and this is what's played out since then, and this is what we're doing to correct it now. Like, that's the message that needs to come out.
Well,
in my opinion.
first of all, Rubio would never lie to us. He's a straight shooter. Yeah, right. and if you look at the whole world, there's only one country that's pushing this war. There's only one country that has anything to gain. There's only one president.
Not true that there's only one.
There's only one president that's come prime minister that's came over here 7 times. He's pushed every war. Look at the emails. If we only get rid of Iraq, who sat in front of our Congress 12 times? If we only get rid of Iraq, pushed us into that. Look at Hillary's and Obama's emails. Israel, we have to get rid of over in Libya, Gaddafi. We have to get rid of Gaddafi. All of these regime changes. And last time I checked, who pays for Hamas? Israel. You need these enemies.
Not just Israel.
Hold on. They
CIA,
pay for, yeah.
MI6, and Israel. Those are the 3 big ones that have funded all terrorist
This
groups.
is the thing. If you had a country and someone attacks you and you attack them back, I'm down for that. But if you're sacrificing your own people for land grabs, what's going on under the radar? A Lebanon war. Who's still in the Golan Heights? Who's still in parts of southern Lebanon? It's Israel. With these, how can anyone support all of these fake ass, take somebody's land and settlements and all of this stuff, and you can sit back and say, "That's cool with me. Them my boys. Them my people." I don't play that. I don't play that with black, white, red, or brown. Stealing people's land is fucked up, and
But
doing it
nobody,
intentionally.
Nobody in the United States that I've heard said that we are going to take Iranian land.
I'm talking about Israel right now bombing some taking over Lebanon, taking over parts of Lebanon. Lebanon was the Paris of the Middle East. It's destroyed. It's in rubble. There is no Palestine today. And who's going to take over all that land? It is Israel going to keep on moving further and further. War is not for taking borders. We don't want to go into Mexico and take over Mexico. America's fine with their borders. Israel is the only country that's not fine with their borders. Their borders are spreading out. And you heard Huckabee? Shit, they can take it all. But we like people like Huckabee. You know, don't get mad when black people support evil black leaders or anybody. You don't have room to get mad. You don't have room to get mad at Germany or Hitler or any of the other shit when you support the same shit that they support. When it comes back your way, I'm gonna be like, I don't want to hear about it because I'm fair and balanced. I'm for everybody's peace. I'm for everybody's health and everything else. But when you sit back and say, "Oh, that's my guy, they can do it," or "I'm from America," it's cool for us to go in Iraq. That was a fucked up war. It wasn't a cool war, you know. And you think people gonna wake up and not forgive you for that shit? I was screaming. I didn't even know about politics and stuff, but I'm like, this shit is wrong. But it's one country. You're always pushing it. Oh, go get them over there. Go get them over there. Why? Read Hillary's emails. Why did we go into Libya? Oh, we can't let these black Africans have their own currency. They got to depend on borrowing money from us and paying us a tax on that. You know, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But we support that. We support Obama bitch ass for doing that. You know, black people got him hanging up in their living room, not knowing he had the most drone strikes. Everybody can get it. See, it's different with me. I don't have a color. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I don't respect anybody that's doing wrong. And that's just the bottom line. That's just me.
So I will say this, like the attitude and approach that he's taken is what most Americans should be on right now. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, we've been fucked over by our politicians for decades.
Just screwed us.
Just ever since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, we've been on a downward track and actually used and abused. When we say CIA, MI6, or what's the Israel? My brain's foggy. What's the Israel one? Mossad. Those ones are the ones funding the terrorist groups, funding the transitions or replacements, whatever. Like, what we're actually saying when we're saying that underneath is like MI6, CIA, Mossad don't make their own money. So it's our money actually funding this bullshit all around the world. And our politicians are getting rich in return by pushing more warheads, more to the military industrial complex and all that.
Like Ukraine, right?
Like Ukraine.
Report just came out, what, $200 million was funneled back to
Right. So this is what I'm saying is like Americans get pissed about left and right and Democrat and Republican and it's Trump's fault.
no
And it's
left
Obama.
and
Like,
right here.
like no, this is the thing. Like, we need an
establishment
uprising
versus people.
We need
That's
an
all it is.
uprising and people to get pissed like he is pissed and replace them fucking all. Replace them all. None
I
of
think
like
we said that last time.
I
right?
know.
Vote them all out and start
right.
over.
We
If
need
you're an
like
establishment-
people like and Democrats out there like no kings, like it's Trump's fault. Like you still haven't woken up to the fact that all of your people are bought and paid for too. And I'm to the point where I'm so conspiracy driven now that I think that 95% of our politicians were groomed since childhood.
You
Like
talk
they
about
were
no
part of the
kings,
CIA
though.
project.
Actually, you know what that movement should be? If they were ideologically pure, they would lose the no kings and they would go with no lords, right? Because you think of the British lords, the landowners that made all of the rules, collected all the taxes, sold out all of the peasants. It's really these establishment
Lords.
It's
politicians
impossible,
are
though,
lords.
guys. It's impossible.
No, it's not. We talked
listen,
about a
listen,
solution.
listen. When you have people who can't see the truth, a truth can never become a truth when a lie is the truth in someone's head.
That's fair.
They really believe certain things. They walk around, no fucking kings. But what is a king? A king is someone who can say, sit your ass in the house, take a shot, wear a mask. That's a king. Last time I checked, Donald Trump has never told nobody you can't leave your fucking house or you got to take a damn shot.
Or you can't go
lose your-
surfing without getting arrested.
That's a fucking king.
Kings don't believe in individual freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually made a funny joke on one
That
of his press
Twitter
on
one?
the
Yeah,
ball.
it was
No,
great.
live on the ballroom.
Oh, no shit.
Where
I
he
think
goes, they go, I see. He goes, they had a no kings protest again. You know, if I was really a king, you think I would be able to get a ballroom built?
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
I appreciate when he goes into that mode
Yeah,
because
that
it's.
tweet of his was great too. Like the congratulations on the No Kings protest.
You know, the other thing with that no kings thing too is like it's funny how Democrats can put thousands of people on the streets. Now a lot of them were paid for, right? We saw the Soros money and a bunch of other money funneled in, highly organized.
Some of the same people with different causes.
Right.
too.
Try to pretend that it's grassroots. It's not. But anyhow, my point with that is like it's funny how you can all show up on that day, but you have to use mail-in ballots on voting day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating coincidence.
They
in
showed some-
California, just what Gavin Newsom said, any bill that goes forward with barcodes. No, they're trying to say, fine, we'll go ahead and allow the mail-in ballots. Just put a barcode on it, and they're like, absolutely not. Well, of course you're cheating.
Well, yeah. Not only that, and I've brought this solution up before, but just use blockchain for voting. It's immutable. You can't fake it. You can't cheat it.
Right.
But they won't do that because,
They'll
of course,
never
they're
use
cheating.
anything that you can't cheat.
Blockchain
Democrats will
is
never
the
agree to it.
perfect solution for voting.
But that's where they
and
get
you
you.
show up on that day. The blockchain, it's immutable. You can see who you voted for. No one can change it. Not
That's
even
all part
back
of the
end.
game, though. See,
Right.
Once you understand how the sausage is made, sometimes you have to use an example. Like I saw a guy go into a Democratic little whatever they had, and they were like, he brought an illegal alien with him, and they were like, "You need ID to get in here." He's like, "Oh, so he can come in the country without an ID, but he needs an ID to get into your
to the
convention."
convention, yeah.
But you can't get in your own convention. But that's where they get. See, the powers to be. I would never, ever have a debate about Democrats and Republicans again. I'm not going to look at any Democrat. You can't get me to talk about Democrats because you're going to get the same result. I don't give a fuck about voting machines. I don't give a fuck about votes until votes start counting. You're going to get the same powers to be. And people really say, oh, he's just a bash Israel, he bashed the Zionists. I'm starting to see how it works. I understand who owns the news media. I understand who says, I want you guys to fuss so I can run you guys and I can control all you guys. I've been looking into the porn industry, all these other things. Who runs all of this sick shit? And all of the DNA tests and BlackRock and this and that. It is all from Israel Zionists. They run the fucking world. And that's just the bottom line. Buying land up in Africa. And we're going to look up one day and then be like, damn, E was ranting, but we don't own shit here. We don't control shit here. Our politicians don't give a fuck about us. They're all bought out. Black, white, black caucus, this caucus. Look who, if you take money from Big Pharma, Lockheed Martin, military industrial complex, APAC, you are not for America. And the 4 people that don't take money from them,
They
Trump
get
is
blasted.
putting out investigations on these people.
Hold on,
Trump is the swamp once again, and I thought he was not. All that fucking talk, I'm going to get rid of the deep state in the swamp.
So let me ask you this. Assume, let me ask you this. If there comes a time that this conflict winds down, which it will. Remember, it's only been, a little over a month, and people are talking about endless wars. Obama had an 8-year war in Afghanistan. Bill Clinton had, 2 wars, Kosovo and Bosnia, and those each were, 6, 7, 8 months apiece, and then occupying forces, I think, for 4 years after. Anyway, we're talking about 1 month, and people are screaming about endless wars. I don't think we're in the same situation at all. We get to 4 or 5 months in, and we don't have anything resolved or any clear objectives. We've got a problem. I agree. But let me ask you this: if we do get in, establish solidify this infrastructure, if Trump then takes a hard line against Israel on negotiating what comes next, would you feel differently?
They'll probably bring out them videos they blackmailing him with. But see,
would you feel differently if he takes a hard line against Israel on negotiations?
He already crossed the line. This is the difference.
So you wouldn't, even if he used cooperation with Israel to establish an American objective, then says, fuck you, Israel, we're taking XYZ, and I don't care if you like it. That wouldn't change your mind anymore.
Because you can never come up with a solution until you fix borders. Israel's whole thing is to take over borders. If listen, I would have no problem with Israel.
If Trump said nope, you can't do it.
They've been fucking. They already told America, if you ever try to stop us, we'll use nukes on you. They got all of these politicians are compromised. That's the one country it's taboo to talk about. Look at Charlie Kirk. His last words: "I'm feeling like he felt pressure from Israel." Boop, got shot in the neck. I can talk about anybody, but I have to kind of bite my tongue if I talk about Israel. I feel it. My sister will tell me, "Be careful about talking about Israel on the podcast." And they seriously will knock you off. That goes way back to JFK. But I'm willing to die for something. I'll stand for something instead of fall for anything. And until you can get borders straight, war is not about taking other people's country. Right now, as soon as this Iran attack stood, they started taking land in Lebanon. You think that's right? Taking the gold. You think Trump was right giving Syria owned the Golan Heights? A book doesn't give you property liens. It doesn't give you deeds because a book says this. And then like Tucker said, if you can really prove who this land belongs to, I would have a better understanding. But you can't wake up one day and say, oh, I want to be in this gang. I want to be in this clan and I get benefits from it. That's not how it works.
Well, let me ask a question, because for all of human history, that's how it worked.
And what if you can take the land and run it better?
Right. So
opportunity. What if you could?
So I'm fully hearing what you're saying.
And we're not talking about taking a rant.
There's such thing as history, and there's bad parts of history, and correcting history, and learning from history, or it will repeat itself.
Right, because the Democrats
there was slavery during history. Do you want to see that come back?
No, absolutely not. That being said, slavery still exists.
Exactly, and it sucks.
So it still exists.
Yeah.
That being said, going back to my question though. That's what it kind of is always funny to me when the Democrats say, oh, you're on stolen land. You're on stolen land. All land has been conquered.
That is true.
All land has been conquered.
We have evolved. People have become more civilized, some of us, and some of us have become more savage. This is my thing.
So I'm not trying to say that Israel's right, by the way. What I'm trying to say is all of human history, land has been conquered.
My question is, when does it stop? When is enough going to be enough? Do you want to take over the whole Palestine? Do you want to take over Jordan? You want Lebanon now? When does the chosen people stop? And how arrogant for anyone to wake up and buy into that. I'm chosen. I'm better than you. God likes me more than you. That is a recipe for disaster, especially when you feed into it. Because I can remember when people used to say, white power, we're better than you niggers. They really believe that. And I have to wake up and see that happening in modern times. Humble your fucking self. Come out and say, we're not chosen, but you can't tell them that. They really believe that.
Well, do you think most Israeli people think that, or you think it's mostly coming from
they believe God gave them that land. That's the only group of people that said God just took one group of people and said, I'm going to give you some land. Fuck you, Josh. Fuck you, Jason. Fuck you, Emmanuel. I'm just going to give them some land. Damn, God, you that cruel?
Well, actually, that has been the argument all through history. Whether it was, you're talking about, you could go back to, like Constantinople, Istanbul. You could talk about, the Crusades. You could talk about one Native American tribe through, like the Apaches taking it. You could use that through China. I mean, even our manifest
but
destiny,
you can prove
right?
what you're saying.
Well,
You can prove. You can prove who's an Apache. You can prove
Okay.
who's a whole chunk of whatever. You can prove who's a Native American.
Well,
Let's take a DNA test and prove
what about manifest destiny when we went west in the United States as a group of immigrants? We couldn't with DNA choose who's what. You're just American, and you went.
Yeah, but now with modern technology, you can prove if this is such a truth that this belongs to you. Let's prove it.
You're talking about through
it.
DNA.
Yeah. But now. When did all of these new categories in DNA start coming out? I thought it was only a certain amount of ethnicities of whatever races, but all of a sudden,
Probably around the same time all the genders started coming out.
that's true. But when BlackRock,
Well, they have more.
when BlackRock,
yeah.
when all of these companies start buying DNA companies, now you can come out with exclusive groups. How can do you guys really think DNA can trace a religion?
No.
Okay, so now this is what DNA companies are doing. Yemen Jewish. This is my buddy writing. What's your mom's DNA?
Yeah,
It's
you
Yemen
brought that
Jewish. Now I'm Ashkenazi European. This you can manipulate whatever you want when you own a company. That's why I'm like, why would you spend $400 million to buy this company? I can manipulate things.
Well, then you get the most private of data ever for
I think that's what's coming.
It could become a weapon and all
for
that.
gene therapy and personalized.
Yeah.
You can hope that.
I mean, it's going to be trillions, but I think that that's what you would say is the capitalist view, and what he's saying is like the more authoritarian.
Sure.
And I think there could be
probably
both.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man.
That's my pragmatic approach.
Yeah, pragmatic brother strikes again.
I'm just really getting tired of just super rights for certain groups of people. Man, listen, I don't want no extra rights for nobody. I want an equal playing field. I said Jaden Ivey, the Chicago Bulls basketball player.
I'm a Bulls guy.
He just want to be. He said, let's just be normal. Why does pride have to take over everything in NBA? Whoop, you gotta go.
Yeah, he should have been allowed to say whatever he wanted.
Did you see the Babylon Beast post on that? I'm sure Alex saw it, but it was hilarious because it was so spot on.
I know what you're talking about.
It said, NBA willing to reinstate Jaden Ivey if he just gets a couple domestic abuse charges and
does cocaine.
And does cocaine, yeah.
The thing about it is, man, it's full of high-powered cowards because it took, who was this rookie? It was I don't know if it's Webanyahu or somebody came out in support of Ivy.
Oh, it was Travion Henderson, running back out of Patriots.
No, it was somebody else in the NBA too.
Did they get rid of someone else?
No.
They came out in support of him.
Sure.
But you will never hear a coward like LeBron come out and say, LeBron's got the most power. LeBron could have had him reinstated overnight. And with the authority he has, he could say, no, bring him back. He would never say that.
No.
Well, he's sponsored by Nike, and Nike's all in on the LGBT thing. So, he would have lost his bag.
Yeah.
That certain
he didn't
types
say
of
anything
shitty
bad
conduct
about him either. I could see if it was a slur or if he said, I hate this type of people, I'm like, get rid of that. He was just saying, what about us? Why do you have to bring that into?
Why it was about, like, I don't understand celebrating Pride Month and something of that nature. Like, and not being able to celebrate his Christian beliefs. So
he was just saying
that was like the crux of the message. He didn't say any slurs or say I hate
celebrate that, you should be able to celebrate your. And they were saying he was pushing his. Now I get this point. I don't think they should have got rid of him. They should have talked to him. But you can't, just because you believe in a certain religion, you can't be in the locker room pushing it and saying you need to change. You need to come over here. You can't be recruiting in the locker room. You could just say God is good to me. But you can't be harassing people.
Was he?
That's what some people had to try.
I haven't heard that from any Bulls teammates.
No,
that's what his
I'm a Bulls
his lawyer
fan.
told him to say.
Yeah,
the other lawyers, the team lawyers.
So no Bulls player has come out and said that.
Yeah,
I'm a Bulls fan.
But I just
so
thought
that's
that
some
was
bullshit
messed up
on
getting
news.
rid of him, and he'll probably never get a job again. And and that's what I'm saying, man. When you start,
no, I don't think that's true. I think actually,
I'll bet his jersey sales go. Well, they probably won't now,
but I bet some Christian networks will pick him up and.
No, I'm not saying. I'm talking about NBA.
Oh, NBA, he probably will never
done.
play.
He'll
in the
probably be
NBA
able to
again.
go overseas. But see, that's what happens when I keep saying, when you start giving certain groups of people special needs and rights that don't deserve it. Now, some people may need to be protected that are being sought out after. But when you start just saying, you're special, the BLM movement, I that black fatigue button, you hit it, bump. Jewish Israel, every day you wake up and that's all they talk about, nothing about America. LGBTQ, hit all of these special group buttons. The fatigue button needs to be hit on all of these fake victims.
Well, here's the thing is, and that's we've gotten so fatigued by all the bullshit that actually no one cares anymore. So like, you call me a bigot, you call me a racist or whatever. Like, call me whatever. Like, we're so fatigued by it, we don't give a shit. Call us whatever you want. We're going to talk now. It
doesn't consider the source.
It does,
doesn't mean
and not only that, what they don't understand, those that continue to use those names, like when you use it for everyone, the real racists, the real bigots, they get to hide under the radar.
Yeah.
That's the thing is they don't understand. When you just blatantly call everyone a bigot or everyone a racist, like there is real racism. There is real bigotry. But when you use it as a blanket statement just because someone disagrees with you, you lose its power and meaning.
A lot of people don't understand.
Well, you know what it is when you replace books in elementary school, you take out the Boy Who Cried Wolf book and replace it with,
the boy who chopped off his dick.
Yeah, then you're probably going to have some issues.
It's just so dangerous when you suppress a narrative and you suppress people from being able to express themselves to tell the truth. And it's like, it doesn't bother Jewish people or white people when I say how bad it was when a black person could just go up and say he's racist and you lose your fucking job or your business gets shut down. Listen, but people don't understand how fucking dangerous that is. And like I said, it don't bother whites and Jewish people when I say that about the black. But I look at the whole picture. That was so fucking wrong when white dudes had to say, I better shut up. My business might get closed down or I'll look bad on TV. I could lose a whole franchise because that BLM movement is so fucking powerful and we're just going to keep on feeding it. Now it's you're anti-Semite. You're anti-Semite. You'll lose everything. Well, you can lose your job, will come for your Congress seat, will come from, that's the same power that I'm so glad BLM is just died off, and I'll be glad when this anti-Zionism shit goes down and all of this other stuff, man. It's just dangerous to empower a non-victim to become victims in things. You have to be hands off and you have to toe a line and be cautious of what you say, even if it's the truth. Now, if you're just out bashing a group or calling people the N-word or G-word, this and that and that and that, and just being a bigot and a hater, that's different.
Yeah,
but when you're calling something out for the truth, it's different.
And to my point earlier, there is real problems with people attacking Jewish like American citizens, whether they're liberals or whether they're Muslims that are attacking Jews on campus.
Whoop-de-doo.
But
there's black dudes getting shot in the middle of the streets. You don't get a special right.
No, I'm not talking about special rights. I'm talking about my point earlier of that when you blatantly call everyone anti-Semites.
Yeah.
You're losing the power when there is actual anti-Semitism going on, just like there is actual racism going on. But when you're blanketing everyone just because you may disagree,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
like that's where they're losing their problem.
Yeah.
It goes under the radar, and that's what they got to be careful of because there is real shit happening.
Yeah.
So
and the big part of the problem is that where people are getting so hyper focused on language versus conduct. I mean, when people, we were talking about this before about deporting, like when people are on campus, you should be able to say whatever the hell you want. That's what the Constitution prevents the government from interfering with. We can say whatever we want. But the moment that I start chasing somebody out of a library or throwing shit at people or spitting on people, that's conduct. Well, that's the kind of stuff
you taking it, okay, when you're indoctrinated and when America has become this big cult when you go to church and they tell you these are the chosen people, you only get blessed if you bless the kids of the children of Israel. You got preachers preaching they're white, whatever, congressional people, whatever at church. I don't know the termination for it, but they're teaching these people this. You got to bow down. These are the chosen people. Then the ironic part, you go over there and you get spit on. Tui, get out of here. We hate you. That's arrogant. That's like what the Klan did. The Klan used to spit it. You can't drink at this water fountain, boy. I'm better than you. You can't use this restroom. And you got Christians going over there getting spit on and kicked and told to get out of here. Where's this coming from?
Or not even allowed in the temple on one of our holiest days. But I want to change topics before we run out of time today. We could go on that forever.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about Nick Shirley real quick.
The one of the few true journalists in America.
Yeah, and I gotta say, and this is really sad to say, that I'm surprised he's still alive. Like, it's sad that we have to even say that. They tried a couple
times, right?
Well,
they tried to beat the shit out of him in St. Paul.
Yeah, but no one's tried to assassinate him like they did Charlie Kirk.
Yeah,
they tried to beat the shit out of him.
Doesn't have a big enough audience yet.
Yeah,
don't worry, they'll get him.
But he should, because like what real journalists should have been doing for the longest time, we got citizen journalists actually doing the real work.
That's true.
So he uncovered the Leering centers and all the bullshit in Minnesota, which every liberal state, probably every conservative state as well to some degree, but for sure every liberal state. So he moves on to California, and some of these schemes are just billions and billions of dollars. But I have a point, like I was out visiting my brother and my sister-in-law, and they talked about a friend of theirs that could open up a retirement center and how much money that was going to be made, and they chose not to. They were a hospice nurse and stuff of that nature, and what you could open up and what the state was going to pay you. It was a freaking ridiculous number. Like what he's uncovering there, and obviously Gavin Newsom trying to troll him is going to backfire on him because it's all happened under his nose. Yeah. But like, we need more citizen journalists. We need journalists to actually do their freaking jobs. And again, I don't understand.
As long as the Smith-Mundt Act is not, it's been watered down, right? So there's no legal consequence to a media outlet.
Obama got rid of that, didn't he?
Yeah, he watered it down so that you basically, propaganda used to be illegal.
It's legal because of Obama.
And it was covered under libel and slander laws.
Yeah.
But under Obama's tenure, the Democrats got rid of that.
Yeah.
And now, ever since then, you've had more and more, either ignoring truth or flat out lies.
Or flat out lying.
Because there's no consequence for it.
Right. And a lot of people don't understand that was a big deal that Obama passed and the Democrats passed, and they wonder why they get lied to and propagandized to on the news. It's that. But my point with Shirley is, like, we have, as citizens, like, I still keep coming back to this point of, like, how the hell can Democrats not be just as pissed off as us about our dollars being wasted?
Yeah.
And lining the pockets of people that aren't actually doing work, and it's our money lining their, like, I can't even fathom, regardless of what side you're on, regardless of who's in charge, wasted money is wasted money. And we work too fucking hard for our money for us not to be aligned on this issue of being pissed off about our money being wasted.
Yeah. Well, because they don't think critically, they think tribally, right? That's not my team, so they don't care, right? Someone on your team pointed it out, and he can only have pointed that out because he's racist.
That's the truth right there.
And then it's the suicidal empathy thing, and all of a sudden...
that is the absolute truth right there. And that's what we've been talking about in this podcast for a while, is the tribalism. And it's how damaging it is.
If we could actually create a tribalism of the lords and the non-lords, right? Or the populace and the lords, if we did that sort of tribalism, we'd win.
Then we'd actually have some legs to stand on.
Yeah.
Well, we're never going to win, because when you can motivate people to go out and even go to a voting poll, knowing they don't know, you're going to get the same result. You're going to vote for 2 gang members, so you might as well join a damn gang. People line up in line thinking there's going to be a change. I listen to Kamala Harris' old speeches. oh, we got to take out Iran. We got to take out Iran. Soon as Trump does it, she said, he's so wrong for that. He didn't come to Congress for that. It's just all smoke and mirrors. It's all, you're going to get the same damn result. No matter who's in office, you're going to get the same result. Who could go and vote Lindsey Graham in for a lifetime? What are you doing in South Carolina? But he's just another politician.
No, agreed. But I believe we do have more power to change it on the state side.
Maybe on the state side.
I think we have more power, but there's just
I think it's only been one half of an election cycle, really, that we've even had real free access to information.
Yeah.
Since X was available.
Look
what happened to
Both
Crenshaw.
sides,
and now Paxton, right, in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll see more of that.
Maybe we will, but hold on.
Both sides want you, but Jason feels like the right is going to give us the right information. But they came together and say, we'll act like we are
I'm not sure that
beefing
X
we're
is
act like
the
we're
right.
beefing with
That's
each
not what
other,
I'm saying.
but we both want to fool these guys.
Right.
Both
That's
of
the
our parties
establishment. That's the
want to
wars.
fool these guys.
I think
Look at all the
maybe
guys that
Are
hated
you
Trump.
saying X is right?
No.
Well, that's what he's saying, is that X is more freedom of information after Elon bought it.
No, I'm just saying. Even the stuff that comes off of X is propaganda too. There's no truth sayers other than Tucker Carlson.
But here's
to me.
with discerning minds, which we know there's very few of, but you can see on X both sides.
I get to see everything.
Whereas
used to
other
be
platforms, it used to be just this way, and this was the only thing you got propaganda.
X is kind of leaning more. It's more conservative. I don't get on X.
He doesn't
that much.
block anything, is
No,
what
I'm
we're
not
saying.
saying block.
So what I'm saying is, although there may be more conservative voices, or at least appear so, because they were blocked originally.
I get that.
Right,
I get
because
that.
anything more than
Now
zero.
you have both voices, and you can be discerning about the information that you're getting.
You could say both voices, but it comes back to one voice. When conservatives start agreeing with swamp behavior, like the guy that descended from Trump's cabinet and said, I don't want to be part of this war. Now Trump's turning around, investigating him and trying to indict him.
He was being investigated before he stepped
being
down.
investigated, and then he quit
Yeah.
to take the heat off.
He was investigated for what? Leaking?
No.
For telling the truth?
No.
What was he being investigated for?
I actually don't have that information off the top of my
Donald
head.
Trump is such swamp behavior. Now you're messy. You're talking about people marriages and stuff like that. You're just getting messy. Oh, you don't agree with me? Oh, you got married too fast. Coming from a man.
By
that's
the
been
way,
married
people, he's speaking about Thomas Massey, not Lionel Messi, the soccer
whatever.
player.
Thomas Massey. You know I don't get into all of that.
I don't enunciate.
Yeah, but it's just the swamp behavior. Oh, I hate green now, and these are the people that I like. So me and him are like totally on the opposite sides of things.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
It was going to classified briefings and leaking intel to the media prior to it. But I think it was for over a year.
Yeah, but some of the things I've
So
heard.
you mean to tell me one thing? So you mean to tell me he was doing that and they didn't catch him in the act? They didn't stop him and set him up. All of a sudden, when he's not agreeing with you, this is all about. You can't believe what the media says. When you got Lindsey Graham, why ain't you investigating Lindsey Graham? He's just flat out on TV saying, "Oh, I was having secret meetings with another country's prime minister, encouraging him, telling him how to trick Trump into war." Oh, but he's fine. Oh, he's fine.
Do you find it a little suspicious that Joe Kent is under investigation and then resigns, and the very next day he's got 7 mainstream media?
Do you
and
find
everyone
it
calls him a hero right away?
Does it make you
suspicious?
This is what the media is telling you.
No,
No.
Hold on.
That's not at all what the media is telling us. What he
I'm
just
saying
said there
is
is
it's
actually a
still-
very good question.
No, if I'm on Trump's team, I can say, "Oh, he was under investigation." You could be under investigation all you want. He hasn't been arrested. That this is all coming. What if he'd have stayed on with Trump? Why didn't they say that when he was on with Trump? Why didn't they say you're under investigation while you're working with
talk
Trump?
about the investigations before they have concluded.
Oh, it's so convenient to investigate the guy that's really a hero and
maybe not. We
and
don't
run
know yet.
against the good people and back the people like Lindsey Graham. It's swamp behavior. I'm not on either team. You can believe what you want to believe. You can support whoever you want to support. We can agree to disagree. I don't believe in none of that crap, and I am sure not a Trump
way
fan.
off topic of Nick Shirley.
All right.
E.
Back to Nick. Nick. All right, I'll tie it in. Nick Shirley is out there independently pointing out the hypocrisy and the corruption of the establishment.
There you go, both sides.
And I'm not a Republican, so I just don't I'm an independent, and I am anti-establishment. I'm anti-uniparty.
Yeah.
Really,
Same.
what we ought to do is have a Labor Party in the United States.
Same. And then
because the Libertarian Party didn't.
there was two. I brought up
have
the
a Labor Party.
I brought up the hospice thing, but the other thing they uncovered was the pay for votes on the streets where he did almost get beat up. I think his camera guy got swung at.
He got messed up pretty
but
bad.
But it was they're out there paying like people are for every name they got like $5 or $10 or something like that. So people had set up as a hustle to get homeless people, immigrants, whoever, to sign these documents to have them as voters in the state of California.
Well, and then they could go get a mail-in ballot.
That's emotional propaganda. That shit.
You don't think that's real?
No, it is totally real. It's totally real. But that doesn't control anything on the upper echelon of government. This little minute shit is exactly what the powers to be want you to get emotional. Oh, they're paying them. But then you don't look at the power of the military-industrial complex. You don't look at the power of Big Pharma. You don't look at the power of APAC. Keep your eye on this little shit to get your emotions.
I can look at more than one thing. Yeah. And what happens
some homeless people are not controlling wars.
No.
But if you assemble or if you assemble enough fake votes, mail-in votes across,
what's it going to change?
You get either if you're in a blue district, you get an establishment candidate. If you're in a red district, you get an establishment candidate. And then you have exactly what you're complaining about is one big group of establishment candidates.
They're all
doesn't matter within. Well, that's because we don't have a fair chance to actually vote in non-establishment
I can see on the local
candidates.
level, I can see you get mad on the local level. But just look at their votes. Look at one thing they always agree on. Funding the military, funding Israel, and they always agree on wars.
No,
and if it was half 50-50, I might vote different.
I have an answer to your question. So we could ask Siri or whatever. You could look it up real quick. If the state of California was a country, it'd be like, I believe it's like top 10 economies in the world.
I'm saying local level is different.
But yours.
What do you want me to look up?
Look up what the state of California would be if it was its own country as far as economic power in the world. And so you're saying that it doesn't matter.
I say it matters on the local level.
But it's not even local, because if California is that big of a part of our country and we get Gavin Newsom and a bunch of shitheads that are wasting money and have enough power on that, just in that state. In Montana, it doesn't matter. California, New York, Texas, those are the size of countries as far as economic prowess.
Yeah.
So you get people like that are wasting billions and billions of dollars.
It would be the fifth largest economy in the world if it were its own country.
I mean, I hear you guys talking.
So you're saying it doesn't matter, but I'm saying it actually, for that state in particular, it really does matter.
But when it comes to how much you think we spending on wars? How much you think we spending in a couple weeks over in Iran right now? You're talking billions of dollars. Do you think Gavin Newsom would change his vote of funding the military-industrial complex? They can make any president fold and start a war. That's where the big money. There's no president that could stop these wars. Donald Trump, I thought he was the great white hope. He's the great white nope. It's no one can stop the military-industrial. You can't stop Big Pharma. You can't stop propaganda. You can't stop the media. So go vote all you want. You're going to get the same result. You're going to get the same result from Kamala Harris.
And hence why we need a clean slate is my point.
I agree.
And we need a revolution and a clean slate with all these.
Yeah, we need a voting revolution. Vote them all out. Start over.
And you get arguments on the other side. It's like, oh, we need experience there for global relations. Like, no, the fuck we don't.
No,
we did just fine for 250 or 200 years without a bunch of.
It's so deep, though, fellas. It's so deep. Even if you had the heart of a Kennedy to change things, you get a bullet. Now we've empowered foreign countries so powerful that you're going to go along with us, or Mossad or someone will come for your ass. You can't have a president over here who say, we're cutting off Israel, we're cutting off the war. Military-industrial complex is going to come get you. The FBI, the CIA, Mossad, they're going to get you. So we just got to get all we can get as humans here, get your land and live the best life you would, because it's a program that's unbreakable. They're too powerful. It's just growing and growing and growing. For when it started with TTP and whatever, NAFTA and all of that stuff, they started putting in play, hey, we can get these dummies, we can sell their jobs, we can take AI thing. Hopefully AI backfires a little bit, because it's about the have-yachts and the have-nots. And I'm a have-not. But I'm a passionate person who loves everybody. People can say whatever they want to say about me on this podcast. I have no Jew hatred. I have no black hatred. I have no white hatred. I love everybody. And you can go on my phone. I can call someone on every side of the planet. I got Indian friends, Chinese friends, black friends. My best friend, like I said, shalom to Oren, you know? And I'm so passionate about this because somebody may think I'm an anti-Semite. Man, in college days, I used to hang out with nothing but my Jewish homies. ZBT, all of these guys. I'm in pictures. Only brother up there. That was with my Danny Reich, all of my guys in New York. Some of my best friends. Hung out with them every day. I got brothers in the hood, but I'm not backing none of them.
And that's what people don't separate either, is right. You don't have anything against the Jewish people.
No,
you have what against the Israeli government.
Zionism and the government.
But people got to be clear about that too, because that's what I think most of us have a problem with. Is what is Netanyahu's influence over our Congress, our president, whatever. If we don't have issues, we certainly have questions about their influence in our government. It's not about the Jewish people.
Man, there's so many black dudes that I hate. What you gonna call me, a racist? Brothers that I can't stand, you know? Wrong is wrong. It's not a color. It's an individual thing. It's the power of certain people and policies of certain countries.
Are you saying that you judge people by the content of their character?
No, I think he really does, though.
I know, I agree.
But one other topic that should...
can I say one last thing to maybe wrap this up? If we didn't have, if in the unlikely event that we had a president that really did have an America First idea or agenda, what I would do if I were in that position, if I inherited, multi-trillion-dollar deficit, so I would basically inherit a country that is broke, right, and then I had to look at America, right, and wholly contingent upon China for a lot of our medication and all of our rare earth metals and other types of electronics, right? But you can't tell that country to go fuck themselves if you rely on them. No. So where do you go? You cut off their supply lines. Where do you do that? You take control of the oil in Venezuela. You take control of the oil in Iran. You can't do it alone in Iran. You got to find a partner. Even if you don't like that partner, you got to find a partner whose interests are aligned with you. It's the lesser of two evils. You partner up with someone like Israel. You take control. You get rid of the nuclear weapons. You secure or cut off or constrain China's flow of oil. Now all of a sudden you have leverage. You can go back to China, renegotiate deals, keep them from taking Hong Kong and cutting off all of our electronic supplies. And
I totally disagree.
Hold on. And the only way that this could be true is if sometime as Iran, that conflict wraps up, we take a hard line against Israel. If that happens, I'm right. If it doesn't happen, I'm wrong.
You're totally wrong. First of all,
we don't know. You don't know that he's wrong. Hold on. I actually hope and pray that he's right.
But first of all, and I'm open to. I could be right. I could be wrong.
That's an excuse for Israel taking.
It's not an excuse. It's a fact.
It's an excuse for Israel bombing Iran. First of all, you start by punishing the companies that have sold us out and stopped making these precious metals and our essential vaccines.
You mean
and stuff
countries, not companies?
No,
right?
no, the companies here that have sold out to say we're not going to make it over here. We're going to go get a cheaper labor.
Well, that's what the tariffs are for.
That's okay. You start there first. Second of all, how are you going to punish China with oil embargoes and bans on oil when they were 3 steps ahead of us? They started getting away from that. They're going with electric cars. They're like, we don't need all of this oil anymore. We don't need all this Middle Eastern conflict
need it for now while they're building solar panels.
No, but they're starting.
And they're going to need it for anything.
They have
military.
Electric cars. They have weaned themselves off. In America,
you think they got a electric tank?
No, I'm not saying that, but they have enough oil from Russia. They have a relationship with Russia. They don't need the Middle Eastern oil. Just like America told all these other countries, fuck you. We got enough oil over here. Go fend for yourself. So this all boils back to weakening your biggest threat in the Middle East. And I need America as the bully. It's not about the oil. It's about these guys are stopping us from bombing Lebanon, taking the Golan Heights and stuff like that. Russia, when Russia was backing, they said, go get Russia. Listen, Venezuela, they wanted to go into Venezuela. Israel wanted to go in Venezuela because of Hezbollah. It's deeper than what you guys are saying it is. It's a big old master scheme, and we can agree to disagree.
Well, I'm not saying anything either. I think that both of those are plausible, and neither of you know the truth. You think you do.
No, I don't know.
I say I don't know. I could be right. I could be wrong.
And
Time will tell.
I agree with that.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. Is it could be either of those things or anywhere in between.
And
that's why we don't know.
Espresso martini if I'm wrong.
You do that anyway. And give me good
Just an
cigar.
excuse.
All right, one last thing. This isn't a big topic. I told you guys about it before. But Fetterman was offered $20 million by Oprah
Is this
to vote
backed
against.
up? Is this for sure?
Yeah.
This was from Fetterman's mouth.
Yeah. So the Senate Judiciary Committee he reported it to, or Oversight Committee, sorry. But Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania, right?
Yep.
We've talked about him a few times. He seems to be the only rational, common sense Democrat on that aisle.
At times.
Well, no, I don't think it's at times. I think that there's some times that you don't agree with what he would vote for, and then there's other times you do. But he's like an old school Democrat.
Right.
He's like what used to be the Democrat Party. Now it's like a fascism party that is completely communist. But anyhow, my point being there is
What they really don't like about him is that he thinks for himself.
he thinks for himself, right? And he votes sometimes for the Pennsylvania people. I shouldn't say sometimes. He thinks he votes all the time for the Pennsylvania people, not what the Democrat Party wants him to do.
Yeah.
And so he gets offered $20 million by Oprah, allegedly, but he reported it to the Oversight Committee. And
what would be his reason to make it up? I mean,
there
especially
would be
since
none.
it was so long ago. What would be the
right?
Yeah.
Because
But
that
you
was
have
for
to pump you can't believe everything a politician says.
That's true.
Correct.
And if he
that's why I said
doesn't have
allegedly.
on videotape saying it or any type of text messages, that's just hearsay.
But we've known that this stuff goes on all throughout, and like people get bought off. Like there's that Democratic state congressperson down in Florida, I believe, that just got busted for a bunch of fraudulent use of dollars.
Yep.
Like this shit
like
goes.
$5 million, I think it was.
Yeah,
That's
it was a big number. But then there's others on the local level that get bought out for like $8,000.
Right.
We can't have controlled anger though. You just can't say, well, Oprah did. They do this part of the game. They do. We got Netanyahu sitting on TV talking about we got to go get TikTok.
I don't care
and
who paid him.
Yeah.
It's the fact that whether it's Soros,
it's happening
or
all over the
Brothers or
place.
It's just another day in politics to me.
Well, but that's different too. It's one thing to put a bunch of money and get an audience and have influence through, supporting a candidate. But once they're in office and you say that vote needs to go this way and here's $20 million
You don't
to
think
you
that
personally.
goes on every day?
I do, but it doesn't make it right.
They do that to Trump every day.
I
want TikTok.
I don't think he does. I don't think he does it for his own money.
When Edelsons and Eldersons or whatever said, we want to get TikTok, Trump made it happen. He made the deal happen.
Okay, but hold on.
And it was illegal
what
to sell
Jason's
to
saying is a legit point. We were talking about like the ballroom that he wants to build. And there's a bunch of private donors that contributed a few $100 million. That's not going to his pocket. In this instance, Oprah is saying, here's $20 million to your pocket
to an offshore account in your
for this vote. That's
different.
Do you really think Oprah's that dumb?
No. But we know this happens regardless if it's Oprah or not.
Yeah.
Right? So that is a very different
I'm sure
thing.
she didn't personally say it.
That is a very different thing. It was Price Stedman.
Or Gail.
Or Gail.
Yeah, why are they always around? It's got their bag men.
That's what. But
I think that's part of it. I mean,
that's
that's like talking on the golf course. They do this every day.
But that doesn't make it right.
Files, no, it doesn't. It's not right.
And it is.
Epstein Files can tell you all of the backdoor deals that were going on, all the backdoor connections he had, and all the deals that were going on with people that were big financial bankers and this and that and that. And then it comes back to a politician that knows glass nickel is coming this way down the pipe, inside trading with different countries. It's just a mess. It's the elite.
And that's why we got to clean the slate.
You can't clean a slate.
Says no lords.
You can't clean a slate that is just out of control. It's out of control.
You keep saying that, but then nothing's going to change.
It's not going to change.
I'm of the belief that, look, you ever seen the movie The Bug's Life? Mm-hmm. Right. The ants, there's far more of those than the grasshoppers.
Yep.
There's far more of us than there are of them. But the problem is they keep us divided.
Yep.
And so Jason's employing the Labor Party, get us all together. And
never
More
gonna happen.
lords.
See, yeah, nothing ever happens if you believe nothing ever happens.
I mean, just look. People are going to go out and vote Republican and Democrat. Things are good. They're not going to come as a whole Labor Party or whatever you're talking about. They're not going to come in as one and say, we demand this, because they brainwash us. They make you hate each other. You know,
what are we doing today? We're educating people. We're giving, but people listen to us. Correct. And people listen to this podcast. So it starts with that single ripple, and you continue to build the movement. And we're not the only ones talking like this. There's other podcasters that are also independent thinkers that are actually getting people to wake up. Too slowly, in my opinion, or for my liking. But that's where so like if you go on and believe that it's never going to happen, it's never going to happen. But if we get enough people to believe that it can happen,
I would love that. But when you're a full bred thing, when you try to crossbreed something to tame it, it takes a long time. When I say like the mentality of the inner city, they have been taught year after year. Young black teens have been taught.
That you're too stupid to use a computer.
Listen, yeah, and they've been taught to hate each other.
That you don't know how to get an ID.
Yeah, they've been taught that. It takes a long time to break the chains. It takes a long time to break the Democratic hatred toward Republicans, not knowing that the powers
it'll take a long time and it'll be difficult, but it doesn't mean it's not worth doing.
Right. And this is the exact reason Charlie was killed.
Yeah,
by the way, he was actually good at getting people to listen and bring to the middle. But I don't think
you guys are understanding there's a resistant party out there. There's a resistant party of the elite and the swamp that says, this guy is making sense. Kill him or lock him up. One of the two. It's a dangerous job, and there's too few chiefs and too many Indians. And I don't know if you get what I'm saying. There's a lot of little people in play, but the big dogs that can make a difference, you get assassinated like a Malcolm X. You know, as soon as you get out of line, you get assassinated like a JFK or MLK. Any Medgar Evers, any Charlie Kirk. Anytime you get closer to change, people don't want to see change. And it's just the bottom line. It's
bread,
the way to go.
Bread and circuses.
And the fact that we're still talking about those people and that the Civil Rights Act did
That's
pass.
Organic change, though. That's people like me evolving without. But I'm so few in my community that think freely without a victim mentality. I'm a pin in a haystack. People don't wake up and I got sisters with mad degrees. They get emotionally. Oh, motherfucker, Jasmine Crockett told Green this, but they're not looking at the big picture. Green is way better than Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett is just a prop, but they draw into because she's a black woman and she's attractive. And I like the way she talked, but you're not looking at the substance. It's almost like the mean guy at the janitor at the school. Oh, Mr. Grady, he's grumpy. He's a fucking asshole. I hate walking down. And then you got the nice guy, Mr. Jenkins. Hey guys, want some candy? And he's the rapist, and the one that you hate is the one that saved your kid in the locker room. Because we go on emotion and we do the eye test, what it looked like instead of finding substance. I mean, I'm not attached emotionally to nothing anymore. I get to know you as a substance. Every day I go to the fucking cigar bar. A group from California came in there yesterday. They left their number. I got people from the Dales come in. Hey, Emmanuel, come up and come to my man cave. Because I sit down and I get to know you, not what color you are. I'm the odd man. So many odd couples come in there. I go to basketball games with 70-year-old white men. Shout out to John Skelton. I just know everybody because I sit down and I get to know you, and that made me a better person. And it makes me not just take what you say. I get to feel who you are. Actions speak louder than words. And we have been groomed to emotionally be tied to something, and I'm done with that.
Yeah, I agree with that point. Where I slightly disagree with you is I think the brilliant thing the uniparty, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, did over the last century plus now was keep us happy enough with the income or the prosperity that we could possibly have, right? Where we weren't fighting back because we could succeed to a certain level.
Maybe get a house.
And we could get a house and that American dream, right? The American dream was propagandized to us with the white picket fence, get your house, get your couple kids, whatever. Right. They did a good job of giving us just enough to not bitch and moan about all the shenanigans they were doing.
Mm-hmm. And then the elites got greedy.
And then they got greedy. And so here's where the young people are pissed, and they're actually looking at communism because the average home buyer now isn't until after age 30. They can't pay off their student debt. Like all this stuff, it's too expensive. Like people aren't going to be able to retire. Like the elites got too greedy. The debt is too much. And so my hope is that to your point there, I slightly disagree because I think the elites fucked up. They got too greedy, and now people are starting to get pissed off because we don't have that prosperity, or at least the young people don't, or don't feel they don't have the prosperity to achieve the American dream.
Yeah. Well, and historically, when you have a nation that has been powerful and successful, and you get to that tipping point, because it happens across, wherever you go, if you are an elite and you want to stay in power, you have two choices, right? You either fix the problem, like a Margaret Thatcher did, right? You got to fix the problem with austerity measures, other types of opportunities, but that requires fellow elites to be less greedy. Or you engage a bunch of useful idiots to go out, espouse communism, and then you actually get more power and more resources, right? And that's the fight.
I think that's what's happening because
100%.
That is 100% what's
the
happening.
Young people uprise, but they only uprise for stupid shit. They won't uprise for anything that could benefit
because
America.
They changed public school curriculums to remove things that allowed children to think critically, and it made them more pliable and more easily manipulated.
These are the people that think men can be pregnant. So what future do we have with people who can't even define a woman? That is just
now they're on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we should have talked about was
that
Jackson.
comment. Touch it briefly. Let's say, can we do it in 5 minutes?
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So birthright citizenship. Actually, my wife and I were just talking about this the other day. There's a statute that it just reiterates the 14th Amendment. Historically, it has a two-part test of what it is to have birthright citizenship. Mm-hmm. Number one, you are born in the United States. Number two, you are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Mm-hmm. There's two parts, right? Most people think, it just says you're born and if you're in a country, you're subject to its laws. That's not a legal test. A legal test is two things. One, you're born here. Sure, you can be subject to the laws here because you're here, but you add another phrase of jurisprudence, and it says that you're subject to the jurisdiction here. That implies, and historically has implied, that legally you are entitled fully to be a member and get the procedural protections of the jurisdiction of the United States. Mm-hmm. So yes, you're born here, but if your parents are not here legally. Think of in terms of due process under the 14th Amendment. If I'm a U.S. citizen, I get full due process for anything that I am arrested for. That's the law. Mm-hmm. If I am not here legally and I am picked up and they start to deport me, you do not get full 14th Amendment due process protection in an immigration proceeding. It's a whole separate procedure, which is less protections because you are not a citizen. Therefore, you do not get 100% of the same type of due process.
That's sort of some corpus, habeas corpus.
Habeas corpus. That's basically that's basically where you can take possession of a human being without a full 14th Amendment. The same type of trial you'd have as a U.S. citizen. If they tried to say you're leaving the United States, you would get a full federal trial with all of the protections of the 14th Amendment because you're a U.S. citizen. Someone who is not has a separate procedural set of rules in the immigration court. You don't even go to federal court. You go to an immigration court. So you are not fully subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. That's what the Supreme Court is, I think, just trying to explain or trying to clarify.
Okay.
I hope they get it right.
Yeah.
And there are a whole look, if you want to be in the United States and you want to be a part of this and you want to contribute, come on in. We'll have you.
Yeah, and the people that actually, if you talk to legal immigrants, they're the ones that get the most pissed off about illegal immigrants.
People are cutting in line.
Yeah. Because they went through the process, they actually want to be here. They want to contribute. They like our values as a country, and they fought to be here, unlike people that just hop the fence.
So now I'll do the 30-second summary of what Justice Jackson said, and I could probably do a half a podcast on the stupid quotes I've heard from her, but and it's embarrassing as a former lawyer. But her argument was, this is no different. If I'm born in the United States, it's no different than if I go to Japan and I find a wallet and I get arrested for that, I'm subject to the jurisdiction there. That is not.
That is the dumbest. One of the dumbest.
Just
things.
not the
Wasn't her
case.
just sitting
That was her retort.
I'm sorry, but no,
I don't believe that.
I'll show you after we're done. It is
gotta
word
show
for
me.
word.
That
it's no
I find
different.
a wallet-
If I find a wallet in Japan and I'm arrested,
I'm
that's
subject to their
I'm
laws.
subject to the jurisdiction. It's how should that be any, or why should that be any different here?
So
That is so ridiculous.
when I read that, I
She's
huge
brilliant.
huge eye roll. Like, how the fuck did she get to the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Now, but secondly, is like, when we had Ruth Bader Ginsburg was alive, she was clearly liberal, but she was also intelligent.
Very intelligent. Very
Right.
intelligent.
So
Yeah.
her retorts, anytime things like they were well thought, well written,
well-reasoned.
well reasoned based on her liberal bias.
Now, in I'll say this just to try to be fair. In oral argument, anytime you're in court, you do have to think on your feet. And sometimes if you're making an argument, just like we do, none of it's planned, you say things that might not come out the right way. But that clearly shows
She
that
did not
she
understand.
lacks the legal understanding of what it is to be subject to jurisdiction. It doesn't mean I'm physically there. It means I have a legal relationship at the place that I am.
I don't think
if
she
you
has
just
common
traveled, if you just
sense, though.
traveled to Tokyo,
Don't have
you
common
don't
sense.
I
have
don't
a
know that
legal relationship with Japan. You're just there.
I'm not sure she has any sense based on some of her
even
comments.
some of her stuff, it's just like, this is common
Can you-
sense.
can you imagine-
A man can't have a baby. That's common sense.
You imagine
he doesn't
being
have that.
you
Well, they
imagine
don't
being the
want
8
to.
other justices in a room with her as they're discussing this, and just going every time she opens her mouth, they just got to go.
So,
Oh, fuck.
well, there's been some sort of gossip, rumor, whatever, because they don't videotape these, but you can get the audio. I guess there have been a couple of times where other justices have eye rolled to comments that she's made.
How
which
would you
that's
not?
funny.
I roll reading it,
Right.
and I'm not even a Supreme Court Court judge.
Yeah.
I can't talk. My brain's going down.
No,
So anyway, I just wanted to point
It's
that
got to
out.
be a tough job to have, and I just think you have to really detach all emotions and just go strictly on facts, and that's a hard thing for the average.
That's what they were
human.
trained. That's what they spent their life
Yeah,
in.
but then they still have biases.
Correct.
You can't have biases. You can't say I'm a conservative justice or I'm a liberal justice. Right then and there, you lose all credibility. You lose,
Correct.
I'm just a
Correct.
justice.
But listen,
I'm just
so-
a justice guy.
Well,
So
but-
listen to you and I talk versus how Jason explained that. When did you last practice law? Like how many years
I don't
ago?
know, 25 years
So
ago.
25 years ago, but you still can sound like a lawyer when you want to.
Well, I
Yeah,
know
you
I
know
know
the
how to
terminology.
analyze concepts, right?
right.
I mean, that's
So think about this. These people have spent the last 25, 30, 40 years analyzing concepts,
Right.
doing law. Like they should be able to have some sense and be able to speak articulately about the law.
yeah. But you cannot let emotions get
Hold on.
involved.
I'll also say this: months go by where all these both parties submit written support. They call briefs, written support for their positions. Other organizations also send in briefs in support of or against whatever this case, whatever the issue is. So she has months to prepare. She should have had a better freaking analogy ready to go. I will say that. But
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to realize that it's such a tough job because I look at abortion. Then it's such a tricky thing because you have one side is saying, oh, it's a woman's right, and that's flat out. Then you have people bringing in, you can't bring religion into it either because that's getting dangerous when you bring religion into law. That's a terrible thing to touch on. But then I would look at it like, damn, abortion's terrible. And then, but do I have a right? But it's just back and forth. But do you have a right to kill that baby? So, oh man, that'll keep you up all night. But
again,
I'm anti-abortion, bottom line.
it's
So
a tough one.
it's a tough job, and it's
But
what they've
abortion
trained
tolerated.
and signed up to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but
just like me saying, like I've said on my podcast numerous times, being an entrepreneur is the hardest thing you'll ever do. And it's what I signed up to do.
They're trained, but like you said, they're trained. But then it's common sense, and then people look at the spiritual side because I know I don't like abortion, but I know if a baby's going to kill a woman and the baby is going to be deformed or whatever, and they're saying this is detrimental to the woman's life, Is she? And then people said, no, you still, or rape and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now you get into a different.
It's
tough. It's
No, I
tough.
get
That's
it.
tough.
That's where the tough
It's
part of it
It's
is.
tough.
You bet.
Yeah, 100% tough.
Yeah.
All right. Any final words?
God bless everybody. I love everybody. I can be angry sometimes, but I'm really a good guy. If you ever come smoke a cigar with me, sit down with me at the tasting room, we'll have a really good time.
Can confirm.
No Lord's Labor Party 2028.
All right, let's go.
I like it. I'll join.
I've said it a
But
few times.
I'm not going to put the U in there, though. It's just
Yeah.
going to be regularly good old American labor.
Yeah, we spell things differently.
I
here.
would really join up on that.
Clean house 2028. Clean
So
house.
is this
Actually,
the
clean house
beginning
tomorrow.
of, starting our own
There you
labor
go.
party?
Yeah, we'll get some
Well,
graphics.
think about it. You
Alec will make us up a
You
flag
actually
and
could
graphics.
you could unite workers and business owners. It wouldn't just be beholden to a union rep or whatever. I mean, you could actually get people around that.
I would get behind that. Seriously, I would back that. I really would. I would. That'll
right.
fire me.
Our slogan will be "Fuck the establishment."
Fuck them haters.
Yeah. Join us or get out of the country. All right, Spartans, you know what to do. This has been a fun episode, fun conversation. If you found any value or if you just found E funny, which he is, please share it. Remember, the good and great are the enemies of possible. Lead like a Spartan today.
This is Sparta!